Hi everyone, this is Sudi Burnett, and I hope that you guys are having an amazing time wherever you are. Today I have decided to do live. I know it's unannounced, but this is just for us to get together, and I want to invite all of you to join me on a 3 weeks being in the moment channel. Like being in the moment challenges, and I know it's extremely difficult to do that. That's why I decided to stay with you during these 3 weeks. Maybe do 1 or 2 lives per week, so I can be with you, and by you knowing that I'm here and I'm watching you, and I'm here to answer your questions and help you out with whatever challenges that shows up, and hopefully I can guide you through this process. And why am I going to do this for you guys? Because I really firmly believe that everything is the quality of our minds and the way we deal with this complicated machine that we call our brain, right? So I'm not going to bore you or bother you with the right brain and left brain and conscious mind and subconscious mind and superconscious mind, because you guys are all experts and I'm sure that you already know about all these things. But just because we know something, that doesn't mean that we have the tools to use it, number one. And it doesn't mean that it's easy, it's an easy process to be able to handle, okay? So I'm just going to tell you guys, being in the moment, it's all there is. If you and I learn to be in the moment, every moment, in a way, at life being in this moment is the only moment that is true to you and I, is the only moment that I can do something to be effective. So that's the whole thing. And if I can learn to be in the moment at each moment, therefore I have come a long way. That means that I'm not going into the past anymore. If I don't go to the past, there's no dilemma, there's no trauma, there is nothing that I have to fix. So being in the moment in a way is telling me I am all that is. I am whole, I am complete, I am it. And this is not coming from the ego part, it's actually coming from the soul. So I can in a way say that being in the moment means I am coming from the soul. And since coming from the soul is the whole knowing, there's no questions, coming from the soul means I am whole, I'm complete, I know it all, I have the whole ability and capability to be and do anything if I wish to do so. So it's an amazing place. So you guys can send me your question. I can read your question to see what is the challenge. Where do I get stuck that I'm not able to be in the moment, which is real time? What happens? What are the challenges that I go to the past? What are the challenges that I jump into the future? which is what am I going to do? The confusion. I'm not in the right place. So you can also write me your questions. And if some of you want to join my live so I can work with you one-on-one, you can do that too. Okay? So I am open to answer your question. Certain things triggers past traumas and it drains my energy. Okay. Certain things triggers me from my past. So stay with me, be fully in your body and answer this question. Who is the one that's asking this question? Who is this I who is saying that there is a story, there is a past, and in that past some events and traumas took place, and whenever I revisit that trauma, something triggers in me that I experience that emotion or that trauma again. Are you guys with me? So, before I can give you a tool, you have to come to yourself and ask yourself, who am I? And who is the one that's asking these questions, right? So let's go back to the teaching. The mind and the egos, which are partner up, are always asking questions. The mind creates a question, and then in that question, most probably finds something that is wrong. And the next step for the mind to be busy is to look for a solution, right? So this I that's asking this question is the ego, right? So are you the ego who is constantly losing this present moment, who is losing being fully existing here in this moment, and is going to the past? The mind constantly and the ego constantly goes and revisit the story to give itself a confirmation that that is true and accurate. That yes, that event has happened and I got injured emotionally, physically, mentally. I got injured by that event, and then now, today, this moment, I am experiencing the same experience from the past. So the solution for you, love, is to realize who is the one who's asking this question. The minute I come to my awareness and I re-question the questionnaire, I realize that I am not the one who's asking the question. How can I accept those moments and move forward? That's a very good and valid question. How can I accept those moments and move forward? Who is the one who's asking this question? Who is the one? Who's the questionnaire? Who is the one who's asking the question? The minute you re-question the questionnaire, it comes to your awareness that the one who's asking the question is your ego and not you, the real you. Because if I'm coming from the soul is the whole knowing. The soul doesn't have a question. The soul doesn't need to revisit the past, which ego has created. The soul realizes that the past story is being made by the ego. And the soul knows that he or she, it's not the ego. Are you with me? Let us just sit in this and digest it for a second. The one who writes the story, the writer, the director, the whole scenes and stories, all the characters and all the events, bad and good, are written by the ego. The soul understands that the past does not exist. The soul knows you can hear my clock ticking. Does that mean you're present? Yes. That means that you're fully attentive and you have trained your ears to hear and listen. But if you can hear the ticking of the clock and you don't hear me, or if you can hear the clock and the ticking of the clock is distracting you and takes the capability away from you to hear me, then you're not present. Okay? And probably 11:33 a.m. my time, 11:33. Now, this is great that you bring this to our attention, because by understanding and knowing that in our material world, many things are happening at the same time. There are many distractions and noises out there. But I need to become more attentive and use my intelligence to choose what noise or sound I want to hear and what noises or voices or sounds I don't need to pay attention to. It's very difficult for me to live in the present. Most of the time I think nothing. It's very difficult for me to live in the present. Most of the time I think nothing. You have to be more specific. If you're thinking nothing, that's a great thing. If you're thinking nothing, that means you are in a free space. That's not easy to do, to think of nothing. So if you're thinking of nothing, someone is aware that nothing is going on. Rose, do you want to be in my life, or was that an accident? Let me see if you have a question from me. Okay. So, hi, Mino. Mino, did you want to be in my live, or was that a... No, I think that was a mistake. Okay. Right. Can you talk about why one seems to only attract narcissists? Are we subconsciously doing that? Who's asking this question? Misery Way? That's an excellent question, love. Why do I constantly attracting narcissists? Are we consciously doing that? The answer to that, love, is yes, and absolutely yes. There is nothing, absolutely nothing, that comes to my attention or shows up in my movie, in my reality, that is not my creation and solely my creation. Everything and everything is the creation of the mind. But you are not your mind. Okay? So the mind is this machine. This machine's work is to connect to free vibrational thoughts. There are millions of free vibrational thoughts out there. The mind will, like a lizard, I explained that before. The mind, like a lizard, goes like womb and attract the narcissist. As soon as it attracts the narcissist, it creates and gives, like an animation, it gives a picture, whether it's male or female, whether it is tall or short, whether it is brown or blue eyes, whether it's this or that, right? So the mind attracts the narcissist, and then it creates a body and a character of this narcissist. So this is the mind, right? So now once you created that, then the mind and ego continues to make this story. There's a storyline. And then this narcissist character becomes extremely attractive to me. I have said that before, and I think is necessary to repeat myself again here, that everything that gives me that excitement, or it seems like nice and I get attracted to, in a way I can say it's a trick to pull me into my class. So when the class that I'm taking this semester is about narcissist, then I become attracted to the person that my mind has created to trick me to get into this class. Welcome to the narcissist class, right? Who is the professor or the teacher of this class? The narcissistic character. So now I enter this class, and then I'm going through this process. It is my understanding that narcissists are self-centered, and they always looking for a victim character. A narcissist is looking for someone or a victim character who can play the role of a narcissist. Therefore, they look around and they see, oh, this person seems very strong. So this is not going to work for me. This person feels very soft and seems like a victim. It seems like I can play that narcissistic act on them. Okay. So I get into this class, but what is the lesson? If the narcissist is looking for a victim, then the next question would be, am I a victim? Of course, the one who's asking, am I a victim, is still the ego. Don't forget that all our interactions are egos meeting another egos, right? So the question confirms that I got into this class of narcissist, and somehow I couldn't figure it out. I didn't get a pass. Because of that, in a way, I can say, I'm not going to use the word of failing, but I'm going to use that maybe I needed to restudy that narcissistic class again. So I end that relationship, but I'm still in the same class. So in a way, I can say I took geography with a different professor, and I didn't pass that class. And I thought, oh, I don't think he was a really good teacher. He couldn't teach me well. So I failed that class. Let me change my professor. And then I go and I sit in another class. Now, this is a different character, but still is the same lesson. So while I didn't pass the first time, I can also fail this time. Now, as long as I come from the ego mind, I blame the teacher once again. And I say, oh, this one wasn't a good teacher either. Because as long as we come from the ego always makes someone else's wrong. They are the problem. They should change. The situation wasn't agreeable. So the ego doesn't want to say, maybe I need to work. Maybe I didn't study enough, right? So then again, the ego is going to say, oh, this teacher wasn't good. Or the ego plays many roles. The ego can say the teacher wasn't good, and then it can come back again to me, and it can say, and it can abuse me mentally, and it can say that you're a stupid kid, you never study, you don't have the motivation, it's not in you. So the ego can beat us up in many ways. It can make the outside wrong, it can make the teacher wrong, and it also can turn around at the same time and give me the guilt feeling and the bad feeling, and I'm not good enough, and that I'm not good enough can come up again. Muhammad John, I don't know, you guys randomly sending me that you want to join my live, but I think it's just a mistake. So this is for Sahar to figure out who really wants to join the live and who is just accidentally. I can't waste the time to keep adding people. How can we understand that we passed our lesson? To put it in the most simple way would be, is the lesson repeating itself? Or how am I feeling right now? If coming back to this lovely girl that asked, why do I constantly attract narcissists, right? In a way, she's saying that I keep repeating, I keep failing the class, and I keep taking the same class over and over. So if the lesson stops, then I'm not experiencing the experience. Or I can come to myself and say, how do I feel? I tune into myself. Am I feeling good? If I'm feeling good, it's an indication that I'm coming from the soul. If I'm not feeling good, because I can, let me put it this way, I can pass my exam and I can get 97. I still pass with a good mark, but I can still say, why didn't I get 100? Why did I make that one or two mistakes? oh my God, I studied so hard and I spent so much time. Why did I have to not to get 100, right? If that's the case, that means I might have passed the test, but the residue of the bad feeling is still active. So it's not clear. In my emotional body, there is a still residue of things that has passed, but is not fully clear. So there is still some residue. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the life will be always safe, lovey. Don't worry, and you don't have to beg and ask for it. Okay. So basically, what I'm trying to say is the challenge that we're starting right now to be in the moment. I actually think that I should give you guys a gift. 3 weeks challenge on being in the moment, living this moment. And for the person who wins, I can either give out 30 minutes free session, or we can give you some gift as money, since money is also energy. Sahar will put that on for you guys. Okay? So now, in order for me to be in this moment, what would be my challenges? For the one who said, it's very hard for me not to go in the past, then it would be what? I'm going to talk about it now, Lovey, how to be in the moment right now. To be in the moment right now, okay, someone says, my challenge is that I'm constantly going to the past, and the explanation was yes. So who is the one who is asking the question? And that's it, side jump. To be in the moment is the minute you see that your mind start wandering, which it does constantly and all the time, is to separate yourself from it. And the minute you're asking, who is the one who is asking the question, or who is the one who's wondering, who is the one who's going to the past, who is the one who's worried about the future and what's going to happen to me, the minute you catch yourself and ask the question, who is the one who is asking the question, you separate yourself from the ego mind. And then you come to the soul for a millisecond. Since this machine is constantly connecting to different thoughts, you understand that this is what this machine does. So the next step is understanding the machine. Secondary is accepting the machine. You have to accept that this machine is connecting to thoughts and creating problem and looking for solution. And that's how this machine gets busy and having fun and being active. And the mind really thinks that is being proactive, being productive, and all that, right? So I have to accept that as a human being, having so many different aspects and so many different layers, one part, the major part, is the mind ego, and this is what the mind and ego does. I am totally accepting it in the first place. And then going back to the previous step. Who is the one who is thinking? The minute I ask, I stop or interrupt the thoughts, and I said, who is asking the question? Who is wondering? Who is the one who is thinking? Who is the one who's talking? Who is the one who's going to the past? Who is the one that worries about the future? One, you interrupt the pattern of this system. You don't get lost and go with it. Secondly, you realize, you come to yourself and you realize that you are not your mind and ego. I've been talking about this for years. I practice this in my webinars and seminars and all that. But this is extremely difficult to do. So you have to accept this is the tools that really works, and I have seen it, I have used it myself, I have given it to many of my students. And for the one that took this practice seriously, they wanted to be a student. For those, it had really worked. But it's a 24 hours practice. It needs real commitment. You have to be really committed. Yeah, it's very difficult, honey. I don't think there is any task that is harder than this. To understand and know the mind, right? And to separate myself from it, and to do this separation constantly. Easy, yes. Yesterday, you know, I'm doing sessions all day long, and yesterday I was dealing with someone. If you do it with love and passion, absolutely, hon. Okay. Yesterday I was doing session with this lady that had major issues with her husband, that calling him a narcissist doesn't justify it. He's really mentally ill. And when I took her into the practice of understanding where he's coming from, to understand someone's situation and to come from awareness, the minute I come from awareness, that follows up with love and compassion. So I try to first make her understand, if I'm not mentally healed, or in another way, if I'm mentally disturbed or ill, there are many actions or many activities or many things that I say and do that can be extremely hurtful and harmful to even my family and the ones that I love. But for this person, they don't have the capability to do otherwise. So she told me, I said, give me a scenario where it was really, really painful. One of the most painful events. And she says to me, she says, he said to me that you are so fat and why would you think you're nothing? You do nothing. You just laying around all day. You're just useless and all this thing. And I said, okay. So in order for me to say these things, right, where should I be in the first place to be able to say these hurtful, harmful things to someone else? When I'm aware, I am aware that this person is not in the right, healthy mind, right? It's just like if I'm constantly criticizing you, if I'm being critical all the time, what does that tell you? That I'm very critical about myself. And behind all the criticism is what? Not being enough. When I'm not enough, I have to be better. And I constantly have to do better. And I constantly have to advance. Because I'm not enough. And I was telling her, I said, I do understand his place. But can you? Because I have been an ex-OCD. I have mastered that. So of course, when I have obsessive compulsive disorderness, it comes from me not being enough, and I always have to do my best. And even if I'm doing my best is not still good enough for me. So it's not a good place to be. And obviously, I become critical. I criticize others and their actions and their work. But what does that tell them about me? That I'm extremely critical. So if I'm extremely critical, okay, Sarjan, I got 10 minutes. So if I'm extremely critical, I'm going to criticize others. If I'm in a really good place with myself, then I'm constantly complimenting others. So I said to her, I said, one of the tools, because she asked me, she has a couple of kids, and she asked me if we can do, if I can do something about kids, children's, and bullying. And I said, yeah, that's very important, because in today's time, kids are being bullied all the time. Even now with this COVID and kids being home, they're still interacting on the internet and social medias and all that, right? So I said, once you be able to understand where this person coming from, and if you're able to see his wound, but let me open up something, another window here. Do you know that when I'm wounded, it's very hard to be able to see someone else's wounds? Let me repeat that one more time. Do you know when I'm wounded, it's very difficult to see and relate to others who are wounded, because when I'm wounded and I'm hurting and I'm bleeding, all I'm thinking about is me. How do I feel? What did I went through? How did that happen to me? So I'm so engaged and involved with myself. And when I'm saying with myself, meaning me, the ego, I'm so engaged and involved with this, that it's hard for me to see that someone else's is wounded. And if it comes to the point that I would heal my wound first, or I'm going to help someone else's wound to be healed, what do you think the ego is going to choose? Right? So I said, if you be able to see that he is wounded and know that, yes, you are also wounded at the ego level, but not at the level of soul. So if you can switch from the ego to the soul, then you're not wounded, you are healed, you're complete. Then you can come and help your husband or your boyfriend or whoever, your wife or whoever is ill and sick and wounded. You can help them heal. And then she said, I said, now come to your body and tell me how you feel. And she said, I understand all this, but I still hate him. I said, okay, that's great. Because between hate and love, there's a huge distance. You know, one day we get into the relationship and it's so passionate, is the invitation, like I said before, the invitation to get you to sit in this class, right? I'm so passionate. Oh my God, all the lovely words and the phone calls and the texts and the songs that he sends me. And after a while being together, the love and passion changes to hate. So I said to her, I said, it's okay. Totally embrace the fact that you hate this person. And no matter what I say and how much awakening I'm going to give you, at this moment, you cannot switch and love this person, except, first of all, that you hate this person. Know that there is a distance between hate and love. But do you know what's in between? In between hate and love, we reach a space that is neutral. So I can start from hating someone, start healing myself, okay? Start healing myself. Sarjan, give me when it's 5 minutes to end. Thank you, love. And then from hating, I can work on my awareness. I can work on being in this moment, this challenge that we're doing every day for 3 weeks. Catching myself. Who is the one who's hurt? Who's the one who's wounded? Always ego. Who's the one who's going to the past? The ego. Who has created the story? The ego. Who is revisiting the story? The ego. By constantly doing this, eventually I would reach the midpoint, which is neutral. At this point, I neither hate this person nor love him. And then I will come to myself and congratulate myself. Thank you, Zach. Congratulate myself pat myself on the shoulder. Honey, you have come a long, long way. From hate and revenge, you reach a point that is neutral. And then from there, you can continue and go towards love. And I told her, I said, remember, the form of the relationship doesn't always stay the same. I have been into a relationship myself that was so passionate and loving and love, love, love. And after a while, my relationship has changed its forms. And he became my brother, right? Like a family. We don't have sex anymore. We don't give each other's, that wonderful words and that stuff. We still love each other. But the form of the love has changed from one to a different form. And I'm totally acceptant of this. That one day it was a passionate boyfriend, girlfriend, and today is just like loving another human being who's my brother. Okay? So basically, remember, you're entering a 3 weeks challenge to be in the moment. The practice is that every moment I am aware of my duality. Ego, mind, soul, and heart. Ego, mind, soul, and heart. The minute something shows up, I'm asking myself, who is the one that's asking the question? La, 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 la. And then I would see you guys. What's today? Los Angeles time is 12:11 p.m. Is it Tuesday? Yes, Tuesday. So I would see you guys on the weekend probably for another live to see how you guys doing. Love and peace. Love you all from the bottom of my heart. Till next live. God bless you.